This evening on the VC3 News Update, e-litigation portal for the High Court to be launched later this month. Early medical care should be sought once exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19, according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone KEIZER-BEACHE. And fiscal difficulties could force government to axe social and capital programs. Join us at 7 p.m. for these stories and more on the VC3 News Update.
Hi, I am Jean Johnny Finley from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a retail store manager and personal development coach. There is no time like the present to do it for the future. Let's do this for tomorrow. Get vaccinated. Be a champion, be a hero. I got vaccinated to protect myself, my family, co-workers, and my customers, and as my civic duty. Together we can achieve. Let's do this for tomorrow.
Hello and hi.
Hello everyone, I am Shakel Bob. I am a former Miss Pitani, a former Miss Rural SVG and Miss LCD contestant and runner-up. I'm a lawyer by profession, but a pageant lover at heart. Do not let the negatives prey on your mind, because a stitch in time saves 9. So, it's COVID vaccination time. Get vaccinated today to reduce the impact of COVID-19 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And I urge you, get vaccinated. It is safe and it is effective. Stop the spread, help the fight, and make the choices right. And let us unite and do the thing right.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Round Table Talk. Of course, the talk is once again COVID-19 and what's happening here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The situation continues to change rapidly. We are pleased that you could join us. With us this evening, the CMO, Dr. Simone KEIZER-BEACHE, and we also have Dr. ROHAN DESHONG, consultant urologist. Good evening, Dr. KEIZER-BEACHE. We want to start with you.
Good evening.
Okay, tell us what's happening. What's the situation?
Okay, St. Vincent right now, we have dealing with the second big spike, and we announced that we had 28 new cases. That was on Sunday. Typically, Sundays tend to be very light. So we had 28 new cases with a positivity of 17.3%. We now have 3,866 total COVID-19 cases reported in St. Vincent since March 2020, the 11th, of which 1,304 persons are active cases, and 2,529 persons have had negative tests. And we typically say that's recovered, but we need to understand that that's just somebody who has had a negative test, but might actually continue to have symptoms or side effects or complications of COVID, such as long COVID. So that's where we are now. We have unfortunately recorded 33 persons who have died from COVID, mainly COVID pneumonias. And in the last September, just in September and into October, we went from 12 deaths up to 33 deaths. So a significant number of persons have died from COVID.
Okay, so we have 21 deaths within the last several weeks. Let's talk a little bit about the demographics of the people who are now being affected by COVID and by COVID-19 deaths.
Okay, so all of our deaths have been persons who have been unvaccinated. One person of the latest group, one person is reported to have had one vaccine. So still unvaccinated, and that one dose was recent. Very worrying is that we have had some persons outside of what would be the typical person who had died. So early on this year, when we had deaths, there were persons who were older and persons with many other illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, renal disease. But we have had some very young persons with no comorbidities. Our youngest death is somebody who's 27 years old. And this is what we are seeing. It is extremely worrying. The majority of our patients are admitted. So right now in hospital, we have 58 persons admitted, of which we have 2 of them being partially vaccinated and the others unvaccinated. This is according to our records that we have. We are seeing younger persons, I say, in terms of those persons turning up positive, persons in the workplaces, persons at homes, entire families in the households, the majority of them being unvaccinated. We do have persons who are vaccinated, both partially and fully vaccinated, being coming down with COVID-19, but the majority of those persons have very mild diseases. They don't need admission, and they recover pretty well. So the outbreak, just as it is in other countries right now, is mainly an outbreak of the unvaccinated persons.
Okay, Dr. DeShong, I know that you're a very strong advocate of COVID-19 vaccines. What is your take on what is happening in this country at the moment in regards to the disease?
The simplest word is unfortunate. Unfortunate because we've had a lot of time to, as my Facebook friends would say, do our research. We've had a lot of time to ask questions, to be skeptical. And it's unfortunate. I made a post on Facebook a few days ago and said there was no need for Vincentians to be dying in the presence of an effective vaccine.
It's actually a quotation that I have here from you. Yeah.
There is no need for us to be dying. And that's why I said it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that when I think about it, it makes me angry, so I tend not to want to talk about it. Because it tells us the power of words, the power of misinformation. And there are even those who are doubling down and trying to misrepresent what's going on. There are those who are saying, oh, we have escalated the figures to make people frightened. If anything, I mean, my CMO would agree with me, we tend not to escalate the figures. We have a fairly high threshold for calling a death a COVID death, to the point that sometimes I think we put the bar too high. And so it's facetious that people will think that we are elevating the numbers just to make persons frightened to go to get vaccinated. And then you hear the other flip side of the coin. Trust me, people take the information and misinterpret it in whichever way they can, including even the information about the vaccine. You hear, this is because the vaccinated are spreading it. The vaccinated get the infection, they're asymptomatic, and they're therefore spreading it. Those are the two most common things. That we're elevating the figures just to get people frightened. That's not really what's happening. And we have to blame those who are vaccinated, because if because they're vaccinated, they're getting the infections, they're spreading it, and people are not knowing, and we're not testing them. We should be testing them. Every scenario you can think of being used to even distort the reality of what's happening, and that's sad. Fortunately, the people are waking up and saying, you know what, I'm going to get vaccinated. And I bet you, if you go at the clinics now, there are long lines outside the clinic for people waiting to be both tested and vaccinated. I have a lot of patients come and asking me, now, doc, can I be tested? Up to today, I had 2. One colleague of mine said, oh, I have some issues. I'm seeing my specialist. I'm going to get tested, hopefully get vaccinated soon.